good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of of my podcast, The Rebound. This is episode number 7, and I'm here with blues legend, all-around international man of mystery, Pat Chase, also known as Guitar Slim.
And thank you very much for having me again, Doug.
You're welcome. You know, we always, mess around with guitars and this and that and this song and that song, but I've never really sat down with you and talked about who is Pat Chase.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the whole thing.
Good. This will take about 5 minutes.
Okay, no. So look, first thing is, tell me the last blues song you heard in the last day.
Oh my God.
Any?
Nope, can't think about
You
that.
don't listen to blues on Sirius?
No, I tried to, I have what's called Google Home, and I tried to play music that I don't ever listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it in the mornings. I do stretches every day for half an hour, whatever, and I just get on Google Home. And I can't even tell you who I said, okay, Google, play so-and-so, and it's somebody I want to listen to music I've never heard before.
Yeah. Heard anything good?
I heard a lot of good stuff on there. I don't know who played it or anything like that, but
Yeah.
they're just, because of Facebook, you see a lot of different videos of different musicians. There was something on Facebook that a friend of mine posted, and it was from America's Got Talent. And this woman said, Pat and Stan, and that's me and another guy named Stan Hickenbottom. We went to high school together. Stan plays rock guitar and I play blues guitar. And she says, check this guy out, tell us what you think. The kid was 19 years old from like Croatia. And he played guitar
Lights out.
and nuts, just crazy. And that's what I love. I like to listen to different stuff. When I used to tour a lot, and I would play with a certain band like Mark Hummel or something, a blues band, we would eat blues and sleep blues and drink blues, and I just want to listen to something else.
Yeah. How old were you when you discovered music?
10 years old.
Yeah.
1964. I was born in 54. So in 1964, my brother, who was a year and a half older than me, got a guitar for his birthday. And he would get a year's worth of guitar lessons, and he would come home and show me the chords that he learned. And that's when we were hearing the music of the Beatles and these people, Bob Dylan, and that's where because our father bought my brother a guitar, that's when it all really started.
And you learned to play all that stuff? Beatles and all that?
Well,
You have to, right?
no, you don't have to, but I, certainly if somebody said, I can play a few Beatles songs, but no, I can't. We learned da 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 da. We learned Magic Straw. I don't know what it is. I'd have to play it for you, but we learned a few down.
Okay, so when did you realize that the guitar was facing the wrong way for you?
I never ever did.
So you were able to play
Oh
out-
no, I did.
Okay. What happened?
As a senior in high school, 18 years old, I had the opportunity to take Algebra 2 or guitar.
Wow. You could have been a math whiz.
Oh my God. I signed up for guitar
Yeah?
right away.
And I mean, they didn't...
Yes, they did.
They tried to turn
Yes,
it
they
around?
did. So my guitar instructor, we're all sitting there with guitars, and I probably had my brother's guitar that I took to the school to play in the guitar. But I was 17, 18 years old, and I'd been playing guitar for 8 years.
Yeah.
And so I could play a Robert Johnson song
Wow.
at that time.
Yeah.
And so when the instructor tried to tell me you're holding the guitar the wrong way, I played a blues song for him, and he goes, okay, you're okay. Next guy. Yeah, he let me go.
Those of you that don't know, Pat plays left-handed, but he plays a right-handed guitar, and he strums up instead of strumming down.
Yes, and that's because my brother got his guitar. I was 10 and he was 11, and he got a guitar for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed me the chords when he would go to the guitar lessons and come home and say, look, this is a G chord, and I'm left-handed. This guy was left-handed.
Yeah.
I'm left-handed, and I was 10 years old. I just held the guitar like this. My brother didn't know, I didn't know. He said, put your finger here and finger there and a finger there. And that's how I learned how to play.
Yeah. When did you first become aware of this guy?
It was this is my grandfather, who was a professional baseball player in the aughts and the teens. And I probably, I don't know, probably a teenager. Our father played semi-professional ball too,
Mm-hmm.
in what's called the Pacific Coast League.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Pacific Coast, as you can imagine, is in the California coast, the West Coast League.
Right.
You know, California, Oregon, Washington, probably.
What position did he play?
My grandfather,
No, your
father
dad.
was exactly like my grandfather.
Really? First
He-
baseman?
My father played first base. He threw left-handed and batted right-handed,
Same thing with Hal.
just like my dad and just like me,
Wow.
just like our grandfather and just like me.
Wow.
That's what I do. I throw the ball left-handed and bat right-handed.
So you graduate from high school, and all you want to do is be a blues musician?
All I wanted to do was play music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by that time, all of our friends, we would get together at somebody's house, and there'd be 2 or 3 guitars and a harmonica player, and it was folk music.
Yeah.
You know, it was the late 60s. I graduated from high school in 72, so even before then, we were all we'd ride our bicycles with our guitars in our hands.
Yeah.
And we'd ride over to a friend's house and sit there and smoke pot and play songs.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
In California.
Yeah. It's a requirement. So when did you do your first full
18.
paid gig?
18. I
At
was
18,
18.
you got paid.
I played the Saratoga, which is in San Jose, California.
Yeah.
We played at the Saratoga Community Center for a folk festival.
Yeah.
And it was me and another fella named Danny Robinson. Danny Robinson was a member of the Robinson family, which was like 11 kids. Every one of them were just phenomenally musically talented. Every one of them.
Yeah.
And the father was a doctor, and they grew up in the same neighborhood. And Danny Robinson and I got together with our 2 guitars, and we went and played 2 songs by Muddy Waters. Yeah, man, I was 18 years old at the Saratoga Community Center, the folk festival.
And you got paid.
Probably got $20 each.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
But
our
you
first.
thought this is the way to go.
That was our first paying gig. Well,
When did you get serious about it? Real serious about it?
right then.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, we always would get together with friends, and there would be a new nightclub opening, and we go audition for that. Yeah, we knew when I was 18 that I wanted to play in bands, but I also knew that I was a cabinet maker's helper at the time. You have to work. I've always had a day job.
Yeah.
I know some friends of mine that just played music. They have no health insurance.
Yeah.
I know some people who have just toured and just play music, but
Yeah.
you know,
When did you go out on tour first time?
probably in the 75, but just up and down California. We'd go down to Santa Barbara. If you go on to the Santa Barbara Blues Society, there's a black and white picture of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, in there. It's like for their I've seen it, but yeah, we would go down to Santa Barbara and Fresno and up and down California, probably in the mid 70s.
Self-booking, y'all just took care of it all yourself?
What's
Did
that?
you have somebody booking it for you? Or did
Well, you know, I was playing with Mark Hummel back then too.
you really that
Yeah.
far away?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a picture of me and Mark Hummel, probably in 1975 or something.
Is he out on the road?
Is he what?
Is he out on the road?
He has been. He is actually again right now. They just took off for Colorado, Mark Hummel, and he's doing his, which has been the best thing for him, he says, rather than trying to book himself. He does these things called harmonica blowouts. Mm-hmm. So he's on the road playing in Denver, Colorado this weekend with Charlie Musselwhite, the guy from War, Lee Oscar. Did you know?
No, I know what you're talking about.
The band War had a harmonica player. When you hear that da 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 da, that's a harmonica.
Yeah.
A lot of people might not know that.
Who's playing guitars for him?
Lee Oscar, a fella named Rusty Zinn. Rusty Zinn is from the Bay Area, and I think Rusty will be there on the guitar.
Yeah.
But yes, Mark Hummel is touring.
Yeah. So you all went out together when you were kids?
Oh, we went out when we were first learning how to play basically blues and that stuff. We were, well, how old was I? 22 years old.
Yeah.
21 years old. We would take off up and down the California coast and play around in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah. So you never did it for the chicks? The girls?
It's a
all girls like a good guitar player.
all girls like a musician. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't care if it's the drummer.
Yeah. Maybe even a bass player.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't when I was in high school. I never had a girlfriend. I had a guitar. I never was with a girl in high school.
Yeah.
When I graduated from high school, I met my very first girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, but I was about guitar.
Yeah. I wore the covers off basketballs back in those days.
Is that right?
I wore them out.
Yeah.
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 Took it everywhere with me.
Yeah, see? We used to take our guitars everywhere with us on our bicycles.
So what's a memorable gig that you've done?
Oh gosh, I don't. Oh well, here's a simple one. I was with Mark Hummel, and we were out on tour, and we opened for Bonnie Raitt.
Wow.
At in Boulder, Colorado, at the University of Colorado or Colorado State University. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
And she had one of the Neville brothers on the keyboards with her, and it was she was such a nice gal.
Can she play the guitar?
Oh, of course. Oh, and then she said, she came over to me and says, I really liked your slide, because I played the slide, Elmore James' old slide guitar on a couple songs with Mark's band, and she came up to me and just goes, man, I sure liked your slide.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, great. And so we talked afterwards, and then she was playing in Denver the next night, and we were off. And I said, we'll head out. We're going up to Denver. It was just right there, Boulder, Colorado, and Denver. And so we went there to go to their show. And they got us right backstage. And, and
so you saw her again? I
saw her again. And then that was in probably 1985. In 1987, I moved to, and I have a cassette recording of this. I moved to Seattle, Washington from the San Francisco Bay Area. And I moved to Seattle, Washington. And I was playing this they would have a festival up there every year called Bumbershoot. And Roy Orbison played it, and all these big names played it. And I was playing Bumbershoot at a small stage. I mean, they would have 25 stages. Well, Bonnie Raitt was playing, and she was playing Friday and Saturday night at the big stage. And I'm like, on one of my gigs, I just finished it inside this big festival thing, and there's Bonnie Raitt walking, and I go, hey, Bonnie, we hung out together. I have duck bumps. Yeah. We hung out together the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And I have it on a cassette because I used to go around.
You have y'all's discussion on
a discussion on there, and I used to tape all the bands I would go listen to. I have hundreds of tapes, and
You should digitize the ones that matter.
I have some of them. I made a CD, and it's called Rewinding Old Memories.
Really?
Yeah, I digitized.
When was this?
When was it? I did it here in El Paso 15 years ago.
God, I've never seen it.
Oh, I'll give you a copy. I don't have any here, but I have a cassette tape of Bonnie Raitt and I walking around. We went and saw Albert Collins.
Wow.
Yeah, and before the show, not that Albert Collins didn't know Bonnie Raitt, but I took her, because I used to play for Albert Collins, and I took her onto the bus, Albert's bus, and Coco Montoya was the guitar player then, and we sat and talked, and that's on this recording. And at the very end of all that, those 2 days that we were together, we hugged, because I had a gig like that night somewhere, and she was playing the last deal for the big festival, and I said, I gotta go, and nice to see you. And I got the recorder on, and I go, I gotta go, it's sure nice to see you. And she goes, Slim, it's nice to see you, I'll see you again. And I go, that was Bonnie Raitt.
Really? Wow.
And that was the end of it.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Oh my God, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good story, yeah.
Tell us another one.
Well, in probably I don't know what year it was. Well, here's one even before that. In probably 1975, I'd have to look up the year that John Lee Hooker was born. But I was playing with a guy named Ron Thompson, and Ron Thompson is from the San Francisco Bay Area. And Ron used to play a duo thing with just a drummer, a guy named Kenny Swank, every Thursday at this nightclub called the Ziani Club, way up in the mountains in Felton, California. And so I met Ron Thompson up there. He let me play along with him for 3 years up there. I'm just honing my skills, and I just played backup for him. So one night, Ron at that time was in John Lee Hooker's band called the Coast to Coast Blues Band, and Kenny Swank was the drummer at that time. Well, I had no idea, but we're up there on a Thursday night, and there's this the back door, and Ron Thompson and somebody go, Slim, open up the back door. And I opened up the door, and there's John Lee Hooker.
Really?
Yeah, in the back door. And this club was way up. How this guy from downtown Oakland, California, I mean, he's from Detroit, but he lived in Oakland, how he ever found his way through this 2-lane narrow streets up in the mountains to find this hippie nightclub. And he was there. I opened the door, and there he was. It was his 60th birthday.
Wow.
And
Did you recognize him?
I knew exactly who he was.
Yeah.
I was just like that. And we played with him the whole night.
Really?
Yeah. First time I'd ever met him or anything like that. And he just went to celebrate his birthday with Kenny Swank, the drummer, and Ron Thompson, the guitarist. Both of those guys have passed away now.
Really?
Ron died 2 years ago, and Kenny died, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And John Lee Hooker passed away. And I may have told you that story.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
My brother, I've been to his house several times.
To John's house.
John Lee Hooker's house. And he lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. And one of my brothers is he's a retired fire chief. So I get a phone call from my brother, like, I don't know if it's that night or the next day, and he goes, we just did CPR on John Lee Hooker, he didn't make it. I said,
man.
Really? And this was 15 years ago or however long he died. And so my brother was on the call at Hooker's house.
Wow.
He had 2 Cadillacs, Boogie 1 and Boogie 2.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
That was his license plate, Boogie 1 and Boogie 2.
Yeah.
And so later, like 2 weeks later, I get an envelope from my brother. And I'm not mentioning my brother's name because we probably all could get sued for this. There's an unopened Bank of America envelope in there, and it's addressed to John Lee Hooker.
Really?
And it was his bank statement.
Wow.
He said, I know you played with him, so I thought you might want this.
Did you keep it?
No,
What'd you do with it?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know what I
You're
did.
not much for mementos, huh?
No. And I don't like, I've got little statues of, metal little statues of people playing guitar, or I got a guitar of the Beatles thing, and they're all inside cabinets closed that you wouldn't even know are there.
Yeah.
I just don't, it's knick-knack, and I just don't care for, I don't like clutter.
Yeah, at all.
I don't care for it. But one night, we're back then in, I don't know, this was the early 80s, I don't remember when it was. But my friend Ron Thompson, he says, I'm going to play a gig with Hooker, you want to go? And I said, yeah. And so we all got together, we go to this place just south of San Francisco, and it's a ritzy country club place. And the reason why this lady hired John Lee Hooker to play for her son's 21st birthday is because she said to some of her friends, my son's favorite color is blue. We should have a blues band. Who's the most famous blues band? And somebody said, get John Lee Hooker.
Wow.
That was it. These people could care less.
I've got a John Lee Hooker signed guitar.
I bet, yeah. So
He could barely write.
oh, I know, yeah. So we get to this place, and we say, well, where's the sound system? And the lady, it's a country club, Atherton, California or something, I don't remember what the name of it was. And she said, well, there's some speakers up in the ceilings, and here's the PA thing, we can plug it in. They had no kind of sound system at all.
Wow.
So what I used to do way back then, I had a guitar amplifier which was called a twin reverb, and Fender twin reverb. It's 100 watts.
Yeah.
And I used to play by myself and plug a microphone into that. John Lee Hooker sang through that thing all night long.
Really?
Yeah,
A boom, 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 boom.
all night long through my guitar amplifier.
Yeah.
Because the sound system they had was just God's awful terrible.
Wow. Are blues still big in California?
Yeah, they have.
Because I mean, it's like here. It's just
No, this is not. The Southwest is a classic rock, especially El Paso. But the Southwest it's a classic rock town,
yeah.
and cumbias. If you can have a Spanish band that plays cumbias, or if you can have a band that does classic rock songs that people are familiar with.
You were never interested in that.
I don't care for it.
Yeah.
If somebody screams out Mustang Sally, I did it last Saturday night.
You played it?
I played it just because they asked for it, but it's not what I would prefer to do.
Yeah.
But you gotta please the audience to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I'm not too thrilled about. I want to please me. I'm the guy up there playing the music. I'm gonna please me first.
Do you ever have a bad night?
So, come on, man.
All the time?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah.
What causes
For
it?
99 different reasons. It could be the drummer and the bass player are not in sync. It could be a rhythm section thing. It could be 100 different things.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Years ago, I was on the road with Mark Hummel, and the drummer got so sick. All our equipment was set up, and the drummer got so sick he wouldn't leave the hotel room. He was sharing the room with me. He wouldn't leave. He's Charlie Musselwhite's drummer right now.
Really?
Yeah, June Core. Incredible drummer.
Do you know who Harvey Mandel is?
I know of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's real sick. He's a good friend of Charlie's. That's why I asked.
I bet. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who Mark Hummel just did a podcast interview with? I'm just going to say the name and you tell me if you know who Joe McDonald is.
No. Who is that?
Country Joe and the Fish.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, he lives in Berkeley.
Wow.
He was from...
What'd
He's been in Berkeley all his life.
What'd Mark talk about?
It's on the computer.
Well, tell
It's
me.
great.
Is it good?
Oh my!
Is it
He asked
better
him
than this?
about Woodstock. He asked him, that he was dating Janis Joplin.
Wow. Well, but is that podcast better than this one?
I don't know.
How are you going to beat this?
No, you can't beat this.
No, you can't.
Look at the atmosphere.
Well, look at the guest.
Well, that's part of it, yeah.
So then what happens? Tell me.
Let's see. We were out on a tour, and
With Hummel?
the drummer wouldn't leave the hotel room. He was sick. Yeah. And so, this was a bad night because we got there and told the people in this little teeny weeny town of Rock Springs, Wyoming, population 4.
Wow.
There's nobody in Rock Springs, Wyoming. And they said, we'll get Johnny. Johnny can play the drums. Johnny knew Wipeout, and that's it.
Yeah.
Johnny couldn't. And Mark Hummel sat at the bar the whole night. Johnny couldn't play a shuffle. Johnny couldn't do anything. But it just, there's 100 reasons why you would have a bad night.
Yeah.
But, sure.
Is Hummel coming near here?
He's going to play in Trinidad, Colorado.
Wow.
You know where that is?
No, but I know where Trinidad, Texas is.
Trinidad, Colorado, just across the border. Raton,
Really?
New Mexico.
What's he doing there?
The Trinidadio.
That's what it's called?
The Trinidadio Blues Festival.
Really?
Yeah.
Why couldn't we pull it off here?
Because this town will not support jazz. And really, I God's honestly don't think this town would support blues or jazz.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
Do you remember Senor Blues?
I didn't know it. No. Now, was that Pat Devlin?
No. Senor Blues was, damn, I don't remember his name, but it was a blues club.
On where?
Mesa.
On Mesa. But didn't it?
No, Pat Devlin never ended up with it.
What was
Did
that?
you play for Pat?
Yeah, I played for him at the very end of, what was the name of that place? The Surf Club?
Surf Club, yeah.
On
Yeah.
Mesa?
So back in the day, Pat, high school basketball games were on Tuesday and Friday. So everybody thought, the kids at Eastwood, us, hated the kids at Burgess, Devlin, and nothing could be further from the truth. So on Friday night after the games, we would all go to Devlin's house. Kids from all over the place. And Pat said, Devlin said, you know what this is? This is the El Paso Surf Club. And that's what that was.
Nice.
Every Friday night. And it became the bar.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
That's great.
Yeah.
We were playing golf with Jimmy Murphy and I. We play golf once a week. And we were playing golf, and Jimmy finds a golf ball. Eastwood Troopers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, from the high school team?
And he gave it to his son because his son went to Eastwood.
Did he?
Yeah.
How old's his son?
His son is a school teacher at Canutillo High School.
Wow.
And the coach for the girls' volleyball team.
He is?
Yeah.
Wow.
His son. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happens?
Well, I mean, on that gig in Wyoming, that was a bad night. Yeah. You can have bad nights for 150 reasons. Have I had a bad night recently? Yeah.
Yeah. How many drummers that you hear out of 10 are good?
Here in this area?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta understand that this drummer may be good for this band, but he's not good for that band. It doesn't mean he's a bad drummer.
Yeah.
So for me, there's less than this many for me.
Yeah.
Just because I have a certain
You're pretty particular.
requirement. I'm pretty particular.
Are you a
yeah.
perfectionist?
Well, I get pretty upset. I used to get very upset.
Really?
Sure. If I would play somebody a CD and say, this is all I'm looking for, this is it. I don't want you to do anything other than that, and I'm paying you. And if they did something else, I'd let them know.
Yeah.
I mean, on the bandstand, on the song.
Really?
Sure.
Wow.
I mean, I'm paying you.
Yeah. So how do you end up in Texas?
I was living in Seattle, Washington, and I got divorced. And so I wanted to experience the Southwest. I've been through here on tours, driving through here and getting on the freeway and heading through. But I'd never, that every different area of just the United States alone has its own quirkiness or great things about it.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to experience the Southwest.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm staying here is economic reasons.
Yeah.
I'm retired.
I don't blame you.
And my little 3-bedroom house cost me $78,000.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you at all.
Economically reasons, this is the place for a retired person.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. So, you move here, and when did you start playing here? That day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
I used to play, I moved to Mesilla first. I stayed with an old family friend in Mesilla, and I used to play at they had a Barnett's Harley Davidson in Las Cruces, in Mesilla.
Wow.
They have one here.
Yeah.
I used to play for them every weekend.
Wow.
Up there in Las Cruces.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonder why they closed it down.
Not Barnett. The Harley Davidson people of Milwaukee during the pandemic chose several throughout the United States.
Close.
They had to close. They had too many of them, and they had to cut some of their losses.
I grew up with Mark Barnett. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to elementary school and all that together.
Wow.
And his dad was Mr. Motorcycle. You know, we all thought it was cooler than shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's it. You're playing Harley Davidson. Then what happens? When do you get your first band out here?
Oh, at the Harley Davidson place.
You put it together yourself?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you put an ad out? Did you, word of mouth?
Word of mouth, I think.
Yeah.
I think word of mouth. Yeah. Go to a music store.
Yeah.
Hubbard's Music in Las Cruces.
Yeah.
And just tell them, you know, I'm a guitar player looking for a drummer, or looking for a bass player, or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, you may know this guy too. When I was living in Las Cruces, I would come here because there would be more chance that you would find musicians here in the El Paso area. So I went to a place called Wild Hairs.
Oh, I remember it. Yeah.
Rich.
Yeah.
Richard, he owned Wild Hairs.
Yeah. Rick Francis was the Senior Blues guy. A guy named Rick Francis.
He was the what?
Senior Blues. He had
Senior Blues.
Yeah, that's his name.
Wow.
And he struggled, but
Oh.
I went to his club every weekend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've always loved it.
Well, you know, Pat Devlin had that other one. The Fabulous Thunderbirds played there.
Yeah. Which version, I wonder?
I don't know.
Because they've had everybody play in that band.
Is that right?
Yeah, Duke played in that band.
Well, no, I mean, yes. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I know all the people
Stevie
who...
Ray Vaughan played in that band. Or
Jimmy.
Jimmy Vaughan.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just saying, the club, was it called the Surf Club back then?
It was the El Paso Surf Club and Big Wally's, remember?
No, I don't know Big Wally.
They were right next to each other.
I only caught it at the very, very end of it. They even had
You remember when
one...
he had boxing outside?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's before you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I moved here in 2001 to Mesilla.
Right.
And I stayed there for about 5 years. So I didn't move out here till like 2006.
Yeah. And have you gone on any tours since you moved here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, when I first moved here, that's really all I did.
Toured.
I worked with a company out of California, and they were called Musicians Contact, and they're still open and still available. And I just said, and I would get a phone call. God's honestly, one day I was painting windows at my house, the inside of the windows. My phone rang, and it said, "We're a band in Nebraska." This was like Wednesday or something. Our guitar player just left. Can you play 2 weeks with us up here? And I said, I'm on my way. And I put the paintbrush down, I packed my bags, and drove all the way to Nebraska.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you do the 2 weeks?
I did there 2 weeks.
And
Yeah.
then did it end?
Yes. You
That's all it was.
Because a lot of the bands are just not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not.
With personnel here in El Paso, could you put together a band?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
And it was of what you were...
We backed up a young lady from Branson, Missouri. Yeah.
What's that?
We had a bus. We
Tour
had
bus?
a driver, tour bus. We had a driver and a person to load the equipment
Wow.
and all this stuff. And when I first met the young lady, and her last name, she was a descendant of the family that founded Branson, Missouri, and her last name was Branson.
Really?
Her name was Michelle Branson.
Wow.
And do you know Gino?
Yeah.
Gino DeSantis?
Yeah.
I took Gino. I took up drummer Phil Telford. He now plays in the San Antonio area for a guy named Billy Mata. Billy Mata is a big Western swing name in the San Antonio area.
Yeah.
And so I took those guys, and we toured with this young girl. She was 19 when she started, and I sat her down. She picked me up at the airport in Springfield, Missouri. I flew to Springfield, Missouri. She picked me up at the airport in her little car, all the way back toward Branson, Missouri, where we were going to stay and rehearse. I tried to explain to her that this is a business. She's 19 years old, you know. I tried to explain to her this is not a party. This is a business, and you need to treat it like a business. She wanted to be somebody, you know. She had visions. She had a bus. She had visions of grandeur. And so she turned 21 on the road. She found out about alcohol. And I didn't drink. I didn't do drugs. But she started drinking, and she started drinking so badly that she couldn't finish a gig.
That's so sad.
It's so sad. She really could have. Maybe.
She die young?
No, she's a mother. She's fine. She's a nurse.
Wow.
But she got dismayed. We're up in Wyoming, and it was freezing. We were December, Christmas time, freezing cold in this bus, and her father flew all the way out there and grabbed her butt and
Wow.
said, "You're going home,"
Wow.
and took her home. She was just going off the edge she would say, "What am I supposed to do? The owners of the place are offering me tequila. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the President of the United States. Don't drink.
Have you
This is a business."
Have you seen a lot of that in your time?
Of course, sure.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams?
I played with these old blues guys. There was a guy named Percy Mayfield. I don't know if you've ever heard of Percy Mayfield, but way back then, this guy didn't even know that he didn't go on and do the show. He was so drunk.
Really?
No, we kept calling him. I had to go back to the backstage, and he was passed out, and we just did the show. When we did the show, and we went back, and we woke him up, and he goes, "Are we done? How do we do? We done?"
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's not the only one. I played with some other ones and here's a good story. What's this guy's name? Kirkland. Eddie Kirkland. He was from Detroit. He was friends with John Lee Hooker back in the early 50s. They played together in Detroit.
Right.
And so Eddie Kirkland's manager called me up. "Can you book Eddie Kirkland some dates in El Paso?" And I was, wow, sure. And I did. I got him 5 dates here.
Yeah.
And my band backed him up. Eddie Kirkland, I don't know if his manager or woman called me and said, "He's at the bus." This was on the west side. I was living on the west side of El Paso. "He's at the bus stop, truck stop, up there off of Red Road or wherever, and go meet him there." So I said, okay. The guy slept in his car.
Wow.
The hood was up in this 1972 Dodge Town Car station wagon. The hood was up. I see the car. The manager lady tells me what kind of car he's driving. Mm-hmm. So I find the car. I park next to it, and I'm looking, and here comes this guy walking out. It's him. He's walking out of the gas station truck stop place. He was just washing his hands that are still just greasy as. He was working on the engine of his car. There was a coffee can inside the engine holding something on. There was a rock over here on this side keeping something together. And this guy we would go play a gig. There was a place on Donovan, something blues.
Senor Blues?
On Donovan? Well, the lady that came here once. Debbie came here.
It was Senor Blues.
No kidding? I used to play at that place all the time.
Yeah.
And I booked Eddie Kirkland there. Well, Eddie Kirkland, this guy, he unloads his guitar amplifier and everything, and I swear to God, his hands are full of grease. Some of these guys, and he pulls out his guitar, and the neck is just greasy as, and he just starts playing.
Wow.
I mean, that's how some of these guys live, man.
That's tough.
I have to wipe my guitar down every time and spray it and clean it prior to any show.
Yeah. Wow.
So I play with some.
So for you, now it's retirement,
Yeah.
guitar, golf,
Yeah.
and working at your house.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Working around your house.
it's funny how in a neighborhood you'll see a real nice house and a nice house, and then you look and somebody across the street just their house is just not.
Yeah.
It's falling apart. I mean, you gotta live there, man.
Yeah. And then some.
You gotta live there. Show respect, man.
Yeah.
But the houses, 90% of the houses around me, they're just falling apart.
Wow. It's terrible.
And here I am getting solar for my house.
Yeah. The Solar King.
Well, thanks to you.
Well, Pat, I appreciate you coming on and all the tales.
Yeah.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
No, we haven't scratched the surface.
We could do this
I got
for
some
hours.
great Duke Robillard stories.
Let's hear two of them.
You want?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the middle of early 80s, I don't know why, and Duke can tell you the year, he was staying in the San Francisco Bay Area for like a summer. I don't know why he was there. I never asked him. But we would back up old blues guys like with Mark Hummel. We would back up old blues guys like Brownie McGee and Lowell.
Really old guys.
I mean, the real guys. And Duke would come out, and I'd take my guitar off, and he'd go, no, and he wouldn't play.
Really?
This guy could run circles around me.
Yeah.
And here's an old blues guy, like,
Duke's quite a player, huh?
oh my freaking God, that guy. He can go A to Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the other?
Well,
Duke
okay,
story?
so I'm at a blues festival, and I don't know if Duke was right there, and we're sitting there, and we did this a couple of times together, and Little Charlie and the Nightcats.
Wow.
They're up on stage. I think I played the thing with Mark Hummel. It was in San Francisco, some kind of blues concert thing. And so I'm sitting in the audience, and here's Duke sitting here. And I said, do you know who this guy is? And he goes, no. I said, Charlie Beatty, Little Charlie. He goes, I've heard of him, but just watch this. When his eyes start rolling back, it's over with. And at the end of the thing, Duke goes, I gotta go home and practice.
Really?
Yeah, man. Duke is such a humble guy. He could play circles around anybody.
Really?
But when he can really appreciate another musician, you know.
Yeah. I love his music.
Great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Thank you very much for having
Pat,
me.
thank you for coming.